Hey guys, Monkeyman here, and in the previous video I talked about how you can go about potentially upgrading a card to the 4-star status through augmentations. But what I didn't really talk about is how you can go about choosing which cards to augment first, and which cards are better to augment and which ones you should probably leave alone. So this time around, I'm going to be explaining that. Alright, so basically, once you've actually been able to acquire your growth stars, how do you know which abilities to upgrade first to the 4-star status? Well, that all depends on what you want to play and what job role you're really thinking about maining. So the best thing is that there's only three really available job roles. There'll be a monk later on, but that's not really important at the moment. So when you upgrade the ability cards for one role, you can upgrade the ability cards for all other jobs that match the same role. So, for instance, if you rolled a gladiator, a warrior, and 4-star that deck, and made it a level 144 deck at the moment, then you've basically got a same powerful version of the deck that you can utilize if you ever roll a Dark Knight or for example, when the Dragoon comes out or the Dragon Knight, and even for when Titus comes out, when the Blitzball events happens, you've already maxed out a set of ability cards for that job that you would summon. So, how do you go about deciding which ones to augment first? Well, one thing I just want to make really clear to you guys: do not augment AOE or cone shaped attacks. They are going to drop off in usability later on, as it becomes a matter of one big mob boss after another until you reach the final boss, instead of like multiple big mobs with lots of creatures. You're going to find that these AoE spells and these cone attack spells are really going to be pointless. So please do not waste an augment on that. Try and go for your single target abilities. If I think later on it does become important to get the AoE attack maxed out as well for when mobs become really huge in numbers, but never really waste augments on the cone-shaped one because they do not do enough. There's no balance in it. It's not like it's a happy balance between single target damage and break power and the AoE getting rid of a few creatures at a time. It doesn't work like that. So at this current time, all I can say is do not waste it on the cone-shaped ones. And what you want to focus on first are the single target attack abilities. That's the ones you should focus on first because they do the most break power and damage. So, for example, when I started off on the warrior, I used the growth star on the Hades and the Ares first because from the beginning I knew that I needed a support card in 4-star status that would match a higher damage dealing deck build, because I always focus on attack damage. And other people could focus on a more defensive approach, use more poopers and barriers and stuff, and then for that reason you could build it differently. But you should have one support card, a 4-star, and it's usually like you want your cures or your barrier or Hades, for example. I kind of regret the Hades a bit because I feel like the 3-star Hades does enough, but again, it was between Hades and Fat Chocobo because the barrier is pretty important in most of the game. But now there's Alexander's Wall as well, which is just as broken. So you really just need to have one basically focused support card in 4-star, and if you can get the time after you've done your attack abilities, single attack abilities, then do your second support card, which is a defensive one. I am lucky enough to already have a 4-star Artemis that I summoned by accident because I didn't know what I was doing with my summoning tickets at the beginning. So I actually rolled for a 4-star ability and it ended up being Artemis, which is actually really good because I ended up deciding to play Thief halfway through my gameplay. This took me forever to actually grind out, mostly because I kind of focused on the warrior a lot. But yeah, so I already have a 4-star Artemis that I can just slot into any of these ability slots. I would probably say for the boss I'm fighting as now, I would want a Fat Chocobo 4-star for the event that's happening right now, which is the... What is the event again? Dahaka? Yeah, so the Dahaka event, I would probably want to get Barrier because he debuffs you pretty hard, and you could counteract the debuff with Fat Chocobo. But I've got the 4-star Artemis that I already maxed out, and basically as you max out the cards, you're making your whole class stronger. The level affects the damage, the HP, and the break power, and that's really important, especially when you're trying to get into higher event rankings. It's pretty good for story content. You don't really need to work too hard. You can just be a bit more casual with your tickets. But yeah, so always focus on the single target abilities first. Augment them first. If you have special event unlimited time event abilities that are broken, sometimes upgrading them to 4-star when it's available. For instance, my next 4-star is probably going to be the 4 walls. Basically, it can do some huge damage, give you boost, and power you up with haste. It is crazy broken right now, at least. So I'd 4-star that next. It was going to be Windfang, but this has just been so useful in story content and in multiplayer. So this is definitely my next 4-star goal. So some limited time events are really great, like the Vanille and Fang broken as hell. The Sea Brands, that magic attack is insane. I'm actually going to be purchasing the next pack because I only purchased one pack of FFRK events just because I only had the Thief and the Gladiator at level 4 skill panels. But I reckon, like, since they're so useful, I might as well grab the other one. I hope I don't regret that later on. I hope they give them 5 stars like in the Japanese version. I'm really just like hoping. Whew, really hoping. But yeah, so so limited time events usually have some broken effects, and if they can be upgraded to a high level augment, then that makes them even better. So that's my next I guess priority for augmentation. After the single target event attacks and the special event attacks and your 1 support or 2 support attacks, I would really say just start saving your growth stars. I don't know if you would ever get to that point if you're free to play, because you only get like 1 growth star a month from the login bonuses, and another growth star if you save up the 3000 Magicite from each day, and buy the Mobius gift box. So you only get really 1 augment a month, which is really like why you have to you should not waste your augment tickets on your growth stars on something that doesn't really last you. You're not going to utilize. So cone attacks you probably will never utilize. So when you're first starting out, you're like, oh, this looks good, can wipe some people out and do a bit of damage. No, it's actually going to fall off. It's not going to help you. AoE attacks will be greater when the events come out in the future with huge mobs, and you need to be able to clear those mobs quickly. But at the moment, right now, you just want that single target attack to be your first choice in augmenting. Usually the fire ones do the most damage, but depending on the class you pick. For instance, the Thief has the fire up, which means I would probably upgrade Dynamis as well after the Eternal Wind from the 4 walls. So yeah, it's all about the class you pick as well. So for instance, if you picked Mage instead of the Black Mage, you'd get more chance of drawing water orbs as well as higher water damage. So you'd want to max out your Blizzard, and if you bought the FFRK event, you want to max out Lacey Brand's Vanille Fang card first. So that's a bit of an idea of what you should be doing with your growth stars and not wasting them on something just on first look. So just understand that single target attacks, support, you can never go wrong. You can never go wrong with those. There's a lot of cards in the game that will actually be given to you from multiplayer events and playable events that can be augmented just by farming augment material. I heard that when the 3-star Ifrit comes out, the Ifrit cards we have now will allow us to, we'll be able to get augmentable material to augment the effort cards to a 4-star, which is pretty great as well. So there's going to be 4-stars just given to us as well. So don't feel too bad if you've made a mistake. You can just keep going from here if your head's straight, and know which cards that you want to augment first. There is actually, just for an extra bit of bonus information, there's ways you can see ranks of cards. I don't know if anyone's started to make an English version wiki yet, but there's a Japanese wiki for this game that works really well and gives you kind of an idea of what's wrong. You just have to be able to translate the page or read Japanese. I tell people to use it all the time. It's ultima.jap. And if you translate using Google Translate or you understand Japanese, then you'll be able to navigate the page. Basically, there's a ability section, and it shows you all the abilities that are possible for each class. You just gotta put it in the search bar here. So let's go 4-star rarity, 5-star rarity, and we'll go with warrior. Alright, so for example, you can see a list of all the warrior type cards and their rankings here, so you can know which ones will be so like greater in the future. Right now, it looks like there's going to be a heap of cards that will come out in different events, lightning cards. So we don't have to really worry about the cards we have now. But the idea is that you can check their rankings out, see which ones are going to be the most useful. Apparently, Ares when it gets 5-star is pretty useful. So that's why I hit it first. But yeah, so just do some research if you want to get really like prepared for the future. But for now, the best thing is to just choose your class that you want to stick with. Choose an ability you think you're going to use, or the class really attributes a lot towards element-wise. You'll see in the skill panel what kind of class it attributes to, because you'll see if it can enhance something. It will say it will enhance something. Enhance fire, enhance wind, enhance fire, and enhance wind. So you already know you're going to be getting more damage out of your wind and fire attacks here than your earth attacks, which is why I'm not going to augment my earth attack until like I have just spare growth stars. And then you can also see what you can pull more of with your weapon. I think my weapon has extra something draw, fire draw. So I already know that I'm going to get more fire draw. That's why my next decision after Eternal Wind is to do the Dynamis card. So yeah, so that's just a little bit of information and insight on how you can go about using your growth stars effectively. Hope I didn't ramble a bit too much, and hope the information was useful. This has been Monkeyman. If you liked the video, please thumbs up. If you want to see more videos, subscribe, and thank you guys for watching.